Hey, good morning. I woke up with a message to pass on, and that is consider life uh, as a class. Okay, I had this vision, right, when I got up. So I was in a skydiving class, which is something I don't have really an interest in doing. I mean, as I've gotten older, I've kind of like played with that idea in my mind maybe one day, but then it's like, why would I do that? It's really terrifying for me. Okay. Excuse me. So consider yourself in a class that's like terrifying, for something that seems terrifying for you. Okay. And the reason it would be terrifying is because now, um, like, that's my dog, if you can hear. Um, so what you've been through in life, right? You've probably been through so much. And I'm speaking to people who probably have been through a lot of trauma. And that's why the next part is terrifying, because you don't want to make the same mistakes and repeat it and find yourself in the same situation. Okay. So I'm in this class, skydiving or life. Okay. And now I've taken this, at the end, I want that a certificate of completion, because I want to be able to move forward. I want new opportunities to open up for me, but I need to have the certificate. It's proof that I went through it. Okay. It's proof. And I don't need a piece of paper as proof, but it shows, it is evidence. I went through something, not around it. I didn't pause, wait for it to kind of like fade off a little bit so I can run through it. No, I went through it during the hardest times, right? So in order to get that certificate, I gotta jump out of a plane, or however they do it, right? I don't even know. Okay, so I see, like, you're in this class and you've taken it a few times, because every time you get to the part where you're supposed to jump out, you land like on your face. You break a leg. You've broken some ribs. It's been a super rough, like you're bouncing off the ground. It's terrible, right? And you're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this again and have that same outcome. That's insanity, right? But you're not insane, right? You're not insane. There's evidence you're not insane. Maybe you're in therapy. I don't know. Maybe people come to you for advice, even though you've been through so much, right? So you're not insane. It's not that. And you don't want to do the same thing over and over and think, oh, it's going to be different this time. No, you've done the work. I'm talking to the person that has done the work, that's actively doing the work, that's making those changes, that's putting themselves in uncomfortable situations, right? You've done that. You're doing that right now. You're in this class again. You're asking lots of questions, all different kinds of ways. Maybe the same question, 5 different ways. You want your bases covered, so you know this time you're going to get through it and it's going to be different. But there's still something holding you back. Okay, so what's holding you back is you. And the question for you today, to take away, to contemplate, to meditate, if you have guides you speak to, therapist, I don't know, you need to find it within yourself. So you're not necessarily going to have a conversation with other people or go to them for advice. Maybe you'll have a conversation with other people, and from hearing their perspective, hearing about their journey, their mistakes, you will get an answer from that. It could happen that way. If you're someone who can quiet your mind, meditate, be alone, it can come like that. If you are traveling and working through things when you sleep, it can come through that. Okay. But the question for you today is, when you've taken this class as many times as you have, right? You've asked these questions and you have been thoroughly given the information. You can now pass this information on to others. That's how well you have absorbed this, right? This knowledge, this information. You've gained wisdom, right? I could get up in the class, in front of the class, and I could show people how to, put their equipment on correctly, because I do not want to bounce or again on that hard ground. I don't want to crash. I don't want to break limbs again, right? So I know how to do it. To the point where I can go around and check everybody else's equipment to make sure that they're good, right? But I'm still clinging. And I don't want to jump. And that's the question. When you have all the information, you have the knowledge, you have the wisdom, you've been through this class way more times than you wanted to, and maybe you can even count. You could almost teach this class, right? Why are you scared? What are you scared of? Because you have everything now. I'm not talking to people who haven't done this work yet. I'm not talking to the people who are still in that cycle, right? The people that are around them are still toxic. They're still in the job. I'm not talking to those people. Those people hopefully will listen to this all the way through, right? Because even when we were acquiring the knowledge, we weren't listening all the way through. That's why we kept crashing. That's why we kept living insanity, right? I'm talking to the people that after 5, 10, 20 times, they put their phone down, they tuned out the distractions, they sat up in the front row, they asked those questions, they took the notes, they looked at their notes, they went back, looked at it again over and over. I'm talking to those people, okay? Why are you scared? Because, yeah, through the journey, we're told you have everything within yourself. And maybe on some level we believed it or wanted to believe it. Maybe we always kind of got that message. It wasn't our time. We had more learning to do. Whatever an individual's reason was to get them to where they are right now, you have it. Right now, you have the evidence that you can get through this. You can jump out of the plane. And you're also protected. You're protected. The universe or, the divine or whatever higher power you believe in, a power that is greater than yourself, that you believe will have your back, has your back because you did the work, because you're doing the work, because you've committed, right? So now it's time to jump. But with that wisdom, you have learned, right? To gain that wisdom, you have learned when you feel that self-sabotaging tendency to creep up, you've been through it enough times. You know what that feels like. You know what that sounds like. It might be a little harder to catch sometimes than noticing the toxic person, the toxic situation, because that's external, right? It's on the outside. We might see that a little more clearly. We're inside of ourselves all the time, right? So if a turtle, I'm seeing a turtle right now, if a turtle has, something wrong with its shell on the outside, others will see that quicker than the turtle will. Now, I'm not a turtle. I don't really know about turtles, so maybe they can feel that. Maybe they can feel there's something wrong with their shell. I'm sure they can probably sense something. If there's a crack, a chip, I don't know. But I bet the turtle can sense it, right? And so there is an awareness, right? And you need to tune in and tap into that, right? Tap in and tune in. Get in alignment. And you really do. You really, really do have what it takes to jump. So the question is, why won't you? Why aren't you? Why haven't you? And will you? Are you that committed? Do you really want the certificate? Because that certificate's going to open up doors. It's going to swing that gate open to that beautiful garden, right? But you cannot get there quickly. It isn't a race. Slow and steady. Maybe you've heard that a lot too lately. Let me tell you, that has been very triggering for me. Slow and steady. I've been hearing that for over a year now. And naturally I'm a patient person, but this journey, because I'm so eager for the new, right? That hearing slow and steady is triggering. And I need to ask myself why. Because I was so willing to rush through things, right? And what did I do? I just hit the wall. I was literally running into walls. Now I know how to not do that. And, I'm not saying that every area of your life you have mastered. Maybe you don't necessarily feel like you've mastered any area, but maybe you feel almost like an expert in some situations, right? And you see other people around you in those situations, going toward those situations, putting themselves in these situations, whether it's relationships, work, whatever. And as the expert you are, you can see, oh, this person is like completely setting themselves up to run into a wall. You can't see that if you haven't gone through it and ended up on the other side. Consider yourself an expert in some of those areas. Maybe you don't feel you've mastered them. that will also come if you continue to stay committed. But this next level that you are approaching, that is inevitable, doesn't need to be as painful as it's been. Because you know what to do. Let's begin. Trust yourself. Trust your wisdom. Trust your experiences. It's not enough to have trust in faith, whether it's the universe or whatever. That is not enough. You have to do the work. And the crazy thing is you've done the hardest part. But this part feels more terrifying because, and I'll tell you why it feels more terrifying to me. Because what I have lost through the experience of becoming an expert, right? Has hurt. And that pain is not something I personally want to experience more of. It doesn't mean that I walk through this gate and everything's roses and sunshine and I beat it and I'm not ever going to feel that way because I'm never going to be in those situations. No, we're always going to have these tests come back up until we've become a master. And then we'll just have more stuff. More challenges, right? More obstacles, because that's what we're here for, to learn, right? But this is the time. It's here. It's time to level up. So it's time to ask yourself, get real with yourself. Why are you scared to jump now when you were totally willing to jump and crash previously? You went through the worst part. This part's scary because you remember the pain. But those things that you were hanging onto, so that you were clinging to, a lot of those things have probably left your life. So look around you now. You have probably, what you have left, probably can't leave you unless you choose to let it go. There probably aren't that many things around you or people around you that if you lost it, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Right? Because all the things that you thought were so important, you probably have lost them in some way. In some way. So what you have around you now is what you choose to have around you. And because you choose to have it around you, if you need to let it go, you're in a position you get to make that call. Other times, I'll bet you, other people made those calls. And that's why you lost it. And that's part of the pain, because you didn't have a choice. You didn't get a say. They didn't consider you, right? But you have created this life where you're in charge now. You've asked the questions. you've taken the proper precautions, right? Because you are protecting yourself. Not only are you protected because you're doing what you're doing, but you yourself are also protecting you. And you are not about to put yourself in a situation where you're going to experience that again, right? Unless you're not listening to all those signals of self-sabotage, fear of facing your fears, then you might continue the suffering that's going on right now. So that question has been meant to provoke thought and to be placed in your lap. What's it going to take to jump? Are you really ready? Because think about all the other situations and people you chose to connect with, right? Align with, that weren't for your greatest good. They weren't serving your higher purpose, right? They weren't taking you where you wanted to go. And you committed, and you were willing, you were eager, and you did it over and over and over. And now, when that kind of outcome is not meant to be on the other side of this door, why are you scared to walk through it? I heard, take my hand. That could be the hand of a past loved one, the divine, your higher self. Don't be scared. It's time. I'll see you next time, guys. Have a really great day.